this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. Alright, well, we got a lot of stuff to do today. Like, you know. Alright, let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? Oh man, you guys remember this? New guitar, new me, look at that. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about today. I guess I'm going to answer a comment question. You guys remember that I do that, right? Have you guys been asking comment questions for me to answer? Well, if you have, you might get lucky and I'll answer one now. Sorry, my brain is like buzzing. I just got out of a guitar lesson and we're going into Soar Opus 31, number 20. And man, like I've learned that like many times, especially for undergrad. That's where I like learned it hardcore. Just every single bar of it has such crazy harmony, none of which I'm going to get into right now. I do kind of want to make a video about it maybe, where I just look at like the first section or something and just kind of show everything that's going on. I've done videos like that in the past. It's been a while. I would want to prepare a little bit more. Maybe as we go further into it, once I have like enough for a video, I'll actually make it. But man, the harmony is so insane yet simple, and it's so elegant. Soar really knew what he was doing. It's pretty crazy. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the study that goes like this. Pretty cool one. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's one that I like to give out to my students when I feel that it is time to give it out if they need a harmony etude. That one's pretty advanced though. It's hard. So what are we doing today? We're practicing. Let's just gear up for it by answering a question or two. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Here is a big one. Strap in. It's story time. So this is from a video. You're probably not advanced guitarists, and I still stand by that. You're probably not. Deal with it. Maybe you should practice more. That's what I'm trying to do. But you guys know I'm a beginner. How does that feel? This is from John from the First, friend of the channel, I presume. It's hard to know sometimes. But you were commenting on Marty talking about the 10,000 hour thing, and I also made comments about it. And if I remember correctly, my comment was that yes, it takes 10,000 hours, which really just means like a lot of time. That's kind of how I interpret that, to master something. And if you want to give it like 10,000 hours or like 12,000 or 8,000, that's like all about the same. But I really do believe that you need your 10,000 hours like per skill on the guitar, as in like 10,000 hours of like free stroke, 10,000 hours of rest stroke, 10,000 hours of like sight reading, 10,000 hours of working on one fugue to play it at like an insane mastery level, like the best, which I guess like what's even my standard for like these things at that point. So like when it comes down to it, it's kind of silly to think in that way, or I mean that's not how I think. I don't think about like getting my 10,000 hours of like rest stroke scales, which is like my main focus right now. So but anyways, let's see what you said. The 10,000 hours thing is total BS. Of course, all caps. A great deal of time is required to gain mastery of any complicated or difficult performance. To the degree it's true, it's trivial. Whoa, dude. Mic drop. It's hard to tell with comments like this. It's like, are you angry at me or are you like agreeing with me? Like, I don't really know. Like, how am I supposed to feel about you right now? I assume that you're just like commenting and like kind of excluding me from it. No one is a master in a year. Let's see. No one is a master in a year. What joke can I make off of that? I got nothing, sorry. But most people can never be masters. Again, that comes back to what is really your definition of mastery. Is it just like general proficiency? Because I think that everyone is capable of that. Now, if a master is someone who's like the best, like in the world, then yeah, only one person can be that. Again, thinking of music in these ways, like there is no best. We can only have like titles and records like this when we're doing things that are like timed events. Something that you can prove that you're the best at, like with just basic math. It's like, I did this the fastest, and that sort of thing just doesn't make sense on like mastery of the guitar. So I consider mastery just like fluency and proficiency that allows you to like pretty fully understand what you're doing and play it at a level that is like considered of the standard of like an expert player. Now, can everyone do that? Maybe not, but I think the majority of people can do that with the proper training. Like, why not? I don't think there's like anything physically stopping most people from doing that. And I think the people who can't do it maybe have some sort of like issue with their hands where they simply can't learn the movements or something. But I think what probably holds people back the most is just their own brain, like not letting them practice as they should be. But most people can never be masters. Every year, there are 10,000 15-year-olds playing their hearts out at a basketball court in every spare hour, and every year 60 players got drafted and the majority never take it into the league. Michael Jordan didn't practice more than other kids. He was born better than them. Did Michael Jordan not practice more than the other kids? Do we know that? I don't know. I feel like that comparison's not quite the same. Because you can take two kids and make them practice their free throw, and they can get like equally dope free throws, but if one of them's 7 feet tall and one of them's like 5'6", the 7-foot dude's just gonna be smacking them down. Just like any ball, boom! And then, of course, he's going to get drafted because they're equally skilled, but the other one's like a foot and a half taller. No matter how good you get at guitar, you're never smacking down other people on guitar. Maybe you're elevating like the performance standard, but I feel like that still doesn't take away from like a masterful performance. Or maybe it does. I don't know. What am I even arguing here? I like can't even convince myself right now. Let's see. Let's just move on. I'll get somewhere with it. He was born better than them. Anyone who's been in a school band knows that some kids, one or two, get put in first seat early and stay there, while others are struggling with fingerings and staying somewhere near in tune. In the end, people play for 10,000 hours because they got reinforcement from being so much better than everyone else and being praised for it, while most kids don't practice because they can see that it gets them nowhere. Dude, most kids don't practice because America is going to hell. I mean, every day I walk around the streets and I just see kids not practicing, and I'm like, what is wrong with this country? It's downright scary. Not my kids. My kids aren't going to public school for that reason, because I don't want them hanging around a bunch of kids that don't practice. I hated being around kids that didn't practice. I don't know what I'm going on about. I'm sorry, I'm going to stay focused. I feel like the way that you're sort of speaking in this comment, it makes me feel as though you're saying, if you can't be the best in the class, if you can't be first chair, what's the point then? Why am I doing it? Nobody's encouraging me to do it. That's what I'm getting from this. I could be wrong. I could be misinterpreting you. I could be changing it to what I want it to be so I can actually talk about it. There is natural ability, and I cannot deny that. And you see it in like basketball, for example. You also see it in school. Like, some people are just predisposed to being better than other people at specific things. Maybe somebody who has like an insane IM rest stroke like scale where they can play like 180 BPM rest stroke scales at 16th notes. Maybe there's some sort of like synapse difference or whatever in their fingers. That's just, mine just doesn't do that. Like, I can never get my fingers to go that fast with accuracy. It's just not possible for me. But for some people who have this like predisposition to it, they just can. And maybe there are things that they can't do that I can do. Like, I don't know, for example, like interpretive ideas. Like, some people are gifted at interpretation, but they're not gifted in like the technical part of playing the music. But you never know of their interpretation gift if they didn't at least put in enough time to let it actually like show through. Because interpretation, you can't just like show that up front. You first need like a foundation of technique. That's why technique's important, by the way. And playing with feel and not technique is like not gonna get you very far. If you don't have the tools to actually express what you want to express, you're probably not gonna be able to express it as well as you'd like. Take those two kids, for example. The best kid in band class, why is he the best? Why is he first chair? It's because his fingers work well. He's able to read the notes. That's like it. If he or she is playing the instrument and playing it well, and they're able to like read the music and keep everybody together, boom, that's first chair. But that's not necessarily what makes music good. You remember when I was doing John Williams and Julian Bream? John Williams, he's a freaking technical monster. Julian Bream would even admit he couldn't keep up with this technique. But everybody was hating on John Williams because it's like too technical. He's like too perfect. And they like Julian Bream because he has that interpretation gift. So, you know, like, I think maybe something to take from that is that perhaps we should like praise everyone for practicing and try to find like good things in everything they play, because there probably are good things. Like, even if you're not playing whatever piece like up to like the technical level that you should be, like, there's probably good stuff and everybody should be encouraged. And the more you practice, those deficiencies that we all have will go away, you know? Just to finish my example, you take those two kids, like the best kid in band class and the worst kid, make them practice 4 hours a day for 10 years. They're both going to be amazing. Even if you're talentless, if you practice 4 hours a day for 10 years, which, by the way, if you ever feel talentless, have you tried practicing 4 hours a day for 10 years? That might do something. You should try that. And then come back to me. Tell me how you're doing. If you're still bad, then you should definitely give up, because there's nothing more you can do. Chances are you probably haven't tried that. Yeah, they're both going to be amazing, and you might find that there are things that you could never know before mastery is achieved that the other kid, who was like worse, is just simply better at. Like, his interpretive ideas, he's more fun to listen to. And I have like a little hypothesis about that, because this is something that I did when I was a kid. When I started playing guitar, it took to guitar very well. Tab, when I first read it, just made sense to me. The strings made sense to me. My fingers would move on the strings with like some amount of ease that I'm a teacher now, and I see kids like try guitar for the first time, and I remember my fingers being way more confident like my first day than a lot of these kids. And I think the reason why is because very early on in my life, I always wanted to play guitar, and I knew that guitar was just like the thing that I wanted to do. So I'd listen to rock music and stuff, and I would just imagine myself like being the guitarist in that band, or like whatever concept of a band that I had was. And I would imagine like how my fingers would actually actually move over the fretboard of the guitar, and just trying to figure out, without much information, like, how does a guitar work? Like, how does that thing even work? And I thought of that for years until I finally picked one up for the first time, and it felt somewhat familiar because I spent so much time like fantasizing and just thinking about it that it's like, okay, like this is just what I imagined. Like it's the same thing basically. And I already had all these questions about like how the guitar even worked. So once I had one in my hands, it only took a little bit of exploring to actually answer those questions. And all of a sudden, within like 5 minutes, I have like a decent foundation on the guitar, just because I've been building this like checklist of questions over the years when I was a kid that I can then just answer when I actually have it. Now, if you compare that to like a kid who's never thought about guitar ever, yeah, I'm the gifted one. But it's like, am I gifted, or I was just thinking about it early on? Like if you took that same kid and just taught him about the guitar, like if his parents just loved guitar and just like talked about it all the time and made him think about it and like, see, this is how it works, that kid's gonna be way better than me with just my own imagination of the guitar and no teacher. So, you know, like I consider like what I said for myself, that's like what we see as like natural talent, like the gift. But it's not really a gift. It's kind of just being self-taught. I imagine it's the same way in band or strings class. Like maybe the top kid was just thinking about the cello for years and years, and like their parents like cello, and he like hears it, he knows what it's supposed to sound like. Because I remember when I first started playing cello, that was my first instrument. I didn't even really know what a cello was supposed to sound like. I didn't know if it was making a good or bad sound because I just never thought about it. Now, when I was playing guitar, I knew. I heard so much guitar music, like in rock. Like I knew the difference between like tones and like clean tone and distortion, and like what those should sound like and like what a good one sounds like, that I was just more confident on the instrument like at the beginning. So I don't know, I think a lot of natural talent can be explained by just visualizing before you actually go to it. And natural talent, it kind of seems like magic. Visualizing is magic because you can actually get better at guitar without ever touching the guitar. It's pretty crazy, I know, but you totally can. Like really the only stuff you actually need to do on guitar is like perform. Like you can't visualize and like people clap at the end. That's not how it works. You have to actually play for them. And then like maybe just working on like technical exercises. But then everything else, like learning music, I don't know if you actually need to practice playing music. Like I know for me, when I practice music, a lot of times it can just degrade into this like sloppy mess where I'm just sort of like playing through it and going through the motions. I imagine if you just stuck to technical exercises and just visualized only your music and only played it when performing, it would probably come out well. It would be hard to do that. That's why we don't do that. Like, have you ever tried visualizing through like anything? It sucks. It's really hard. But yeah, no, it's like magic. So I mean, that's what I started doing, just visualizing and forming questions. And then all of a sudden I seem like gifted. I mean, different examples of this. Imagine two kids in like a math class. What if one kid is just like fascinated by like what he's learning in math class? So all day after that class, he's just thinking about what he learned. And then one kid like doesn't really care and he doesn't think about it. The kid who's visualizing and just simply thinking about what he learned, coming back the next day, one kid's gonna do better. There's just no way around that. And that's visualization. That's not magic. That's not him being smarter. It's just his brain thinking about it more. Like, he might be smarter, but he doesn't have to be. If you visualize something more than somebody else, you'll probably be better at that thing. I forget where I was going with that. Did that answer your question? You didn't have a question. You were just ranting. You know, this one doesn't have to be that coherent. I'm just kind of chilling. I want to play my new guitar. I want to practice my scales, you know. So let's go ahead and end this here. It's fine. Hopefully I said something worth listening to there, and hopefully I edited that in a way that wasn't stupid. Let's go ahead and make our way to the piano bench. I'll see you there. Alright, back to the old grind. Oh man, I get a little sleepy. Oh yeah, by the way, I've been playing a lot with the metronome, like mainly with scale practice. I've been doing this new thing where I let it go, so this is 60 BPM, and I just listen to it once like that, and I try to see how long I can maintain that for. And I'm going to go back to it in like 5 minutes or so, and I'm just going to start like I've been talking, but let's see. So I still have it in my ears, right? Like, relatively. So I'll listen to it and then try to keep that and not rush, because that's like the big thing, rushing. Maybe that's like a cool thing to do, because I find that rushing is like an issue that I have where I'll just slowly speed up. And this sort of combats that. I just thought of it. I started doing it like today, and I noticed that it was kind of difficult, so I'll probably practice that. And it's also kind of annoying to have the metronome going on like constantly. It's good for that too. Alright, I'll see you on the other side. who's here.
I'm here.
All right, well, Heather has arrived.
Oh, my socks.
Oh yeah, take your socks off.
You want them to see my feet?
Well, I mean, that's what they came here for. Everyone takes their socks off here.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna play through one piece, and it's a piece that I've been working on. I've been talking about this thing like etude and perfection. So I've been using this piece Lagrima. You've heard me play it a lot. Do you know what Lagrima means in Spanish?
I have no idea.
It means teardrop.
Oh.
It's supposed to be like
cute.
yeah, so I'm just gonna play that, and I'm gonna try to keep that in mind, like the whole like perfection thing. I'm also gonna try to like interpret it in a way that is like interesting. Yeah, this is a good piece though. This is a good like girlfriend piece if you have one. It's like nice and short. You don't have to waste their time with like an adagio and fugue. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm gonna cut all this out, I'm sure. But yeah, so let me bring you a little bit closer. Because this is an etude in perfection, I want you to make a note every time you think I mess up, and I'm gonna ask you how many mess ups there were by the end of it.
Okay.
And I'm only gonna do it once, so we're not gonna like stop and start. Thank you. So how many did you count?
There was like only one like very minor like
What?
buzzy sounding kind of note.
A buzzy
and
sounding
and it
note.
wasn't even like really like it sounded very perfect.
Well, there you go. My girlfriend thought it was perfect, except for one buzzy note. Yeah, I had a little memory slip at the end there, and but that's just a memory slip. I feel like that'll resolve itself. Yeah, but that felt alright. I've been thinking about my interpretation for that one a little bit. I'm not working on it like that much. Like, I'm mainly focused on like the scale work that I've been doing, and then like my actual real pieces that I'm working on. That was like a sarcastic thing.
Yeah.
To say it's like easy. Alright, well, I think we can pretty much wrap this one up here. So, let's go ahead and get our way to the outro. I'll see you there. Hey, well, you know, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. Hey, want some shirts? Head on down to Root and Delight, pick yourself up some honest shirts. Guitar lessons, I also offer those. You should check out yesterday's video. I gave her a guitar lesson, kind of. Marty did a lot of the work, but I had a lot to say, I'm sure. Of course, if you have any comment questions, feel free to leave those, and I'll answer them in the chair, like I did today. That's also a thing that I do, as you know. Alright, well, we're gonna go ahead and get our night started. It's almost midnight, so you know, lots to do. I'll see you in the next one.